Hey, hey, hey.
It's my time to fly.
It's
It's
story
my
time.
time. It's my time. I can see it. I can feel it. Time has come now to reveal it. I've been waiting for a long time. Gotta do it.
Hey,
And won't let
hey.
nothing hold me down. Gotta do it. Because I may not get another chance.
How you
I
doing today?
believe it. If I want it, I get it.
There she goes. Hi.
Hi.
I can't see you. Okay, there you go.
All right, we're gonna make it happen.
Yes. How you? All right, y'all. I'm going to say good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming in. Hey, Dr. Rowland, how you doing today?
Doing great, doing great. Keep
I know you're a
forgetting I
busy
have
woman.
short
Busy,
neck,
busy,
and
busy,
now
busy, busy. How you doing, Purpose? Man, I ain't seen you in a while, Joe. Good afternoon to you. You know, tonight we have your girl, Be Purposely Fit tonight. It's a double header Wednesday, so that's going to be very interesting. Listen, everybody, I just want to let you know that if you haven't been here before, I have Dr. Jonica Rowland. I'm going to allow her to tell you her background a little bit, and then we're going to get into today's topic. Story time today is dedicated to spotlighting some things about insurance and really helping you with your finances and insurance and seeing the association between the two when it comes down to your finances and credit and how it affects some things with pre-existing conditions. But before we go there, I would love for you, Dr. Rowland, to just tell those who have never heard you before, never seen you before, a little bit about who you are and what gives you the credibility to be able to speak about this topic today.
all right, outside of my gray hair, the credibility is I'm Dr. Jonica Rowland, doctor of business administration, not your MD, but your doctor who wants to be in your business. Whether you have a business, a household, or career, we have to have our affairs together. So that's why I focus on the social impact initiative of making sure we handle our business. Now, I've been in the insurance and financial industry since 2005. The majority of my clients are 50, 80, 90 years old. And so I've learned pearls of wisdom from them. And also, I've seen people turn 65 and age. And if we don't have it together before we hit those retirement years, we don't have to retire, but we need the option. And if we don't have our health and our finances together, we're going to leave a legacy of poverty. So this is about insurance, but additionally, this is about legacy planning, planning for your future, not just when you pass away, but the trails that lead up to your demise.
That is so true. That is so true. And I did ask a couple people to come in and join us. I I know we're talking about pre-existing conditions, and we're going to talk a little bit about how credit is actually a pre-existing condition to a certain degree when it comes to increasing premiums. All right, and I wanted to talk about some things that affect credit before we really go into that, because a lot of times people just really don't understand when we say how to be prepared for the unexpected, what that consists of. You know, we spoke about it before. And again, we're going to get into the pre existing condition of our credit and our finances. I mean, that affects some things when it comes to our choices on how we choose to insure ourselves. And that all comes from the decisions that we make to just make sure that we are knowing how to manage our money to a certain degree. You know, I was looking at some things before we prepared for today, and I just want to talk about them if you don't mind before we really get into the portion of the pre-existing condition. And I wanted people to understand that the ways that they can get better prepared. I was looking at something, and with your background being finance, I have a question for you. I was looking at something that talked about the 2010 rule. It talked about how consumers, they need to make sure that they have a maximum debt of about 20% annually or 10% monthly. And a lot of times people don't know how to compute their debt. They don't know what they have. So if they don't know what they're spending, then they can't know how to budget. So what could you tell the people that can help them to really understand how they can begin to do their budget, or how they can begin to calculate what they're putting out each month and each year so they can be better prepared?
Okay. Now, each month, each year, you just need to list your expenses and your money coming in. All right. I know some people like to use the computer, some people like to use paper, but you need to go ahead and find a system that's going to work for you. The gurus have their plan. Everyone else who say they're professionals have a way to do it. But you look at several ways to budget, several systems, and you need to pick the one that's for you. If you can't stick to it, you're going to need to look at your bank accounts and your expenses every day. Because just because the money is in the bank does not mean it's necessarily yours to spend. Because if
Right.
you already have credits, debits, upcoming bills, checks you had written, you actually authorize those people to take that money. And once you sign it over to them, it's their money, not your money. It may be in your bank, but then once those bounce fees come in, and the bank may not pay it, so then you have a fee at the bank and then a fee at the company, okay? And they have a right to do it. And then the next thing you know, you're in collections. Well, I won't say you, we as people are in collections because we didn't pay our bills, and then we want to do a credit repair. Uh, and you know, all the
Wow.
credit repairing in the world is not going to work if you do not have a system to maintain.
So let me ask you something. So being prepared for an unexpected, a lot of times we talk about things that people need to do, like having an emergency fund, like just even reviewing how they spend their money, reviewing their spending habits and getting rid of spending for the unnecessary. Some people think about loans when they have unexpected emergencies, and other people just try to find ways to make extra money, and then some people do look at their policies because they go to their policies to see what they can borrow from themselves.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that right there, the choices that people need to really make when it comes down to having a source of income to go to in these emergencies.
Right, right. Because we can talk about the 80/20 all we want, but you can't get blood from a turnip. Okay. So the rule is we're going to put that 80% on some bills. Okay. Then your 20% out of that, you should be saving, giving to a charity. And then that 80%, try to make that 80% a portion of like a bill to yourself to build up that emergency fund, to build it up, okay? Because you know what when inflation, they're talking about recession. Hadn't looked at the news today. That's the other thing. Watch what's coming into your eyes and your mind so that you can focus. Okay, focus, focus, focus. And that's the biggest thing. Fear is keeping people from having a budget because they don't want to look at the current situation. But we can't be in denial. Denial puts you into poverty, puts you broke, and some people in the jailhouse. And so it is about mindset and behavior.
So
Okay,
let me ask you something.
mindset
How
and
is it?
behavior. Mhm.
Wow. So when we say that our credit is a pre-existing condition and it causes you to have higher premium, can you talk about that when people are trying to go get insurance and we talk about pre-existing conditions and one of them being your credit? How is your credit affecting your ability to get insured?
Okay, so credit affects in all areas. Okay, just like someone be paying maybe 35, 40% to establish credit because their credit was bad to get a credit card. Okay, it's showing the responsibility to pay your debts. So if someone's going to give you $1 million or $2 million insurance policy and you haven't been responsible enough to keep your debts paid, okay, keep the credit ratio, okay, the amount of money you have in credit compared to the amount of money you're actually making. If you're not taking care of that debt ratio, what's going to make someone want to give you $1 million or $2 million? Let's say an insurance company per se is like a loan, okay? But remember, insurance companies are not investments. All right, so this is a hypothetical situation. Someone may have $1,000 premium, okay? And I'm trying to keep us just get out of this $25, $30 a month premium for insurance just for burial. Because remember, we're working on legacy and we're trying to leave an inheritance. And we can't do that if we just have enough for burial. Okay. So you want $1 million, $2 million insurance policy. Okay. There are people out there who's making $500,000 and they still have bad credit because they're not slowing down. So with the insurance company, why would they want to give you $1 million or $2 million policy and your credit score is not good? That's letting them know that they're going to spend all this time to do your blood work, to research your background, to research your situation, to see how much they're going to charge you for that insurance policy. Okay, so they're going to spend money to try to insure you before they even collect the premium. Okay, because they have administrative staff and stuff, their bills have to be paid too. And so your policy $1,000, and the next thing you know, you had an accident because you didn't have enough credit or no money in the bank to go ahead and keep that vehicle up to par so that it can be safe. Yes, safety is a matter here. And then the next thing you know, someone's tire is rolling down the road, and then there's a big car pile up and that person passes away. They only paid $1,000 for the insurance, right? So who has to pay the $1 million, $2 million? The insurance company, because y'all made an agreement. They agreed if you pay $1,000, you have an accident or a death, we're going to give your family that amount of money we promised in the insurance policy, which could be $1 million, $2 million, it could be 100,000. Okay, your family gets it. They got one payment, and your
Wow.
family gets it
Wow.
because, and so who's winning in that situation? Your family's
Wow.
winning.
Yes.
The
Yes.
insurance company has to stay in business, which they will, because another insurance company will buy another insurance company. But the
Wow.
thing is responsibility. It
Yes.
is our social responsibility to pay our debts.
Yes.
If we can't, it's our social responsibility to go ahead and make sure we do what we can to reduce that debt. If we have a job layoff or any situation like that, we need to go ahead and do what we can to work. Now, let me say one other thing. If credit and job, if you can't prove your worth, your value, your net, who's wanting to take a risk on you anyway? Because as we get older, we can't even lend our friends money because we need to hold on to it because why are they borrowing money? If they don't have a business, the business haven't gone under, we can't blame everything on COVID and the economy. Some of our
Right.
habits and our responsibilities towards credit occurred before COVID.
You're right about that. Now you said something that really was something. Some people don't even understand that when they get this insurance, like you said, if you made one or two payments and something happens, your family gets that payment, you know. But now there are some conditions that may prevent that, and that's what we call pre-existing conditions. Some people get a policy and they're not honest about an illness or a diagnosis or something that they had. And this is why it's very important for you to be honest, because there are policies that do cover pre-existing conditions, but then there are policies that do not cover pre-existing conditions. So while we want you to make sure you go get that insurance, We also want to make sure that you are informed so you know what type of policy that you can get, because sometimes people have these high blood pressures and these cancers and dementias and all kind of conditions that could prevent them from getting coverage. So can you talk about pre-existing conditions? We know it makes the premium higher, but maybe some people don't know what a pre-existing condition is, how long they had to have it before they get the insurance and things of that nature. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Mhm. So pre-existing conditions, we talked about credit, okay? Credit, car payment, um, mortgage, all that credit affects all those premiums. And then when it comes to health, whether it be your life insurance, critical illness, cancer expense, um, health insurance right now is on the Affordable Care Act, okay? So there's no clause for pre-existing there. You just have to enroll during the enrollment period. So when we start talking about pre-existing, you heard of those policies years ago. Our family would buy and grandparents, and it'd be $2,000, but they don't pay all this money, to get a $2,000 policy when if they would have done the research or if they were approached. Okay, so some people do not have insurance because they were not approached. They were not taught to have X amount of insurance. So if that's your situation, don't feel bad because this is a new day. Okay, a new day. All right, they don't ask race on the application. They're looking
Okay.
at risky behavior. So if you have high blood pressure, and it's under control. That's the new norm. That's not keeping people from getting insurance. But if someone's having a problem with alcoholism, okay, drugs, all right, um, certain STDs like AIDS, okay, HIV, if people are having that lifestyle that is risky, because some health behaviors came from risky lifestyles. They weren't necessarily born with it, right? That's one reason to go ahead and get some
Right,
insurance
right,
on children
right.
early,
That's right.
right? Get it on your children, and don't let the policy lapse saying, "Oh, they need to pay for it." Man, people gone, and you still saying they need to pay for it. You're the one who's gonna pay for your loved ones' burials expense, and so getting back to the pre-existing, a lot of health issues are coming from risky lifestyles.
So let me ask you
So,
something. You said drugs and alcoholism. Can drugs and alcoholism keep you from getting an insurance policy?
yes, yes, because many companies, they'll do some consumer reporting checks. Okay. If you're asking for that big policy, you never know who's looking and checking you out. Okay. All right. All right. So let's get to that. Risky lifestyle, alcoholism, drugs, sex the wrong way, too much rock and roll. You remember that alcohol? Oh, well, maybe hip hop. Okay, you
Yes.
know, it's a mindset. So let's say someone had too much alcohol or smoked too much marijuana or took too many pills or snorted too much cocaine. Then later on, they're out of behavior, right? So that's either going to affect their health or they may not mind fighting, okay? Or
So
pulling their
indirectly, you mean like
weapons. So we're looking at
indirectly.
character, huh?
So you mean indirectly it affects it, but it's not like there's going to be a question on the policy related to, like they may ask you about certain medical conditions. They won't ask you about usage of drug or alcohol, but what you're saying is their
No,
habits, the habits.
no, they are asking
Are
about
they?
alcoholism, whether someone's had cancer, how many years ago, ever, bankruptcy, okay? Now, a lot of minorities get caught with these final expense policies where they don't ask as many questions, but they're already rated up around premium 4. Okay, they're already rated up for bad health, risky behavior, loss of driver's license. All of that's in that equation, okay? So many people are paying more money on insurance than what they need for the amount that they're getting. So it's always good to get the insurance policy if your health is not bad, to ask the million questions, because if you have no's on there, you're paying a lower premium. Let's say if you're average or better than average height, weight, okay, you're going to pay less premium than the average person, which would be a standard premium. So these ratings are preferred standard, okay? Then you got the smoking rate, the
Mm-hmm.
non-smoking rate, okay? Then you have the rate for obesity, heart conditions. Everyone's not necessarily going to get declined, but they're going to pay more premium based on their health. So character leads to some of these health challenges. Another challenge that is leading to some of these health challenges, okay? Even now, some people can have depression and other things that are noted, but if it's under control, under medication, they may not pay as much. So you control your health conditions by doing some research or getting second opinions so you can find the right medication or the right diet to stay in control. Because if these conditions are under control, you may not have to pay more. It's just people not listening, not doing what the doctor told them or what grandma say or mom say. People who are not listening have that snowball effect of bad health, which goes ahead and affects the cost of insurance. And not only that, the ability to work, okay? The ability to even think about paying a bill, which goes back to messing up credit.
Credit,
And
yeah.
then from there, you're paying these high interest rates and high insurance premiums, or the premium's too high, so you have to scale back on the amount of insurance you have. And then later in life, you're not able to have what you need because you're paying high interest rate or high insurance premiums, or you're paying you can't have home ownership because the credit is messed up. So how in the world are we going to transfer wealth if we're not paying attention to our finances and our health?
That's good. Now, also, I do want to say this, even though the insurance premiums may be high, guys, one of the things we know, you still got to have the insurance. You still need the insurance. And when we talk about insurance here, we talk about all kinds of insurance. We're saying get the health insurance. We're saying get the life insurance. We're saying get the car insurance. We're saying get the critical illness insurance. We're saying take advantage of the employee benefits that are offered on the job and stop saying you can't afford not to get those benefits. You need them. You can't
Do it,
afford not to have them. So what we're
do it
talking
while
about,
you're young. Sorry, I didn't
that's
mean to
right.
cut you off, but do it while you're young.
Yes, yes, yes. Do it while you're young. And so we also talk about pre-existing conditions because some people are afraid to go ask for policy because maybe they don't think they qualify. So Dr. Jonica Rowland is letting you know her email is here. If you are a person, and there's nothing to be ashamed about, if you're a person who don't have insurance, for whatever reason, you lost your job, you lost your insurance, we want you to know that we want you to contact her because she could definitely help you to get insured. All right. And somebody said, wow, these discussions are so important for more of us to hear about. That's true. And this is why we do it. Andrea, thank you so much for joining. This is why we are here. We do this once a month to make sure that we remind people about the importance of insurance, all of it. Life insurance, we talk about the different life insurance policies. We talk about ways that you can qualify, and we just try to bring up mistakes that people make them lose the policies when it comes to lapsing. We talk about when we go back and we take care of elderly parents and the oversight that people have done, or we have done this live about insurance. This is probably about a sixth one. So if you were to go back, you really would see some stuff that we've covered when it comes to all of those things, uh, the different types of policies from the universal to all kind of policies. So back to the pre-existing condition. And if you have a question, let me say this. If you have a question, there's a question mark box on the bottom. So I want you to do two things. If you're just coming in, thank you for joining us. I'm talking to Dr. Rowland, whose background is insurance and finance, and she's been doing this for many, many years. And you said also babies should have insurance. Oh, my goodness. Be Emmanuel. That's the biggest one that I really talk about a lot. The babies have to be, a lot of people, they're out here, the young children, the younger adults, they're spending all that money on their nails and their hair, and these babies, God forbid, something happened to the babies, and they're doing a GoFundMe. And we're saying it's not necessary because for a baby, you can get a policy for under $5 sometimes, $3 and $2 for an infant and for children. So it's really no need. So we're trying to help people to understand how they can get these policies. What's that, Dr. Rowland?
You can. Let's max it out. Get as much insurance as you can on yourself and your children.
And the baby, especially the children, because that's their college fund.
Yes, if it's cash value,
you're
building up your own bank, you're making savings, and that's going to help a lot. And getting back to that pre-existing, for those of you who just joined, thank you for letting me butt in, Crystal. Crystal and I just chime. We're talking about pre-existing, okay?
Name, what are some pre-existing conditions for people who don't know? What can you name some pre-existing medical conditions that would put them in this category?
Okay, so then you have obesity, which has affected America, credit, which in some situations. Then there's those who lost their driver's license to is it DWI or DUI?
DWI, driving while intoxicated, driving while drunk.
And under the influence, your career, of course, if you're an airline pilot in the aviation industry, okay, your career, if you're an FBI agent, okay, or if somebody wants to title themselves as leader of a gang, okay, your career, and the health issues, of course, cancer, vision, okay, I was able to help blind people get insurance. Pregnant women get insurance. So the biggest thing that's hindering minority communities is the fear of the unknown. We just have to put it out there and trust. So that may not be a direct pre-existing, but fear, trust, lack of knowledge, that's just holding us up, okay? Even with your dreams, we keep thinking we can't have it, but yes, you can. You just got to go out there and trust. And I am confidential. That's why I can stay in the industry a while. Trust, okay? How are my decisions going to impact my loved ones in the future?
So let me ask you a question, because I really didn't know that obesity was something that can affect the price of somebody's insurance policy. Their weight. I did not know that their weight could affect their policy. And
it may lead to high cholesterol. It may lead to high cholesterol, those veins being clogged up. If someone is not exercising, that's why you see my hair like this. Crystal got hers like that because we're exercising.
Yeah.
If someone is not taking control over their lives, okay, I still can shed some pounds, okay, and whatnot. If they're not taking control over their lives, they may miss out on opportunities, okay? Yeah, so don't take your health for granted. Obesity leads to heart problems, cholesterol, even identity problems. People may have a complex because they're obese, and they won't discuss the conversations that needs to be discussed.
So
it just affects obesity just affects. I come from a family of obese people, and we have to give our children a fighting chance. That's why we're having this discussion. It's about insurance, it's about legacy, but what are we doing? And I don't like using the word chance. We have to give our children a fighting
opportunity.
When I had a baby, and one of them, I won't tell you which one, hopefully he won't be listening, a baby, and at 3 months, 19 pounds, I knew I needed to watch the diet. So we watched all our children die because some cases weight is an inherited thing. Okay, so it we don't have to let it identify us, okay? But we do need to watch what we eat. So I didn't buy Kool-Aid and a bunch of potato chips and a bunch of sugary foods, you know.
Well,
I hope I gave them a fighting opportunity. So
let me
give
ask you
us
this.
a fighting opportunity.
Let me stop you and let me ask you this. So, and I see my baby in here. Hey, Drika. I see. Thank you to everybody who popped in and coming
Because
back
in
for the
good shape.
replay. So we appreciate you. So, our children, we definitely, when it's too early, like a lot of times, a lot of parents don't teach their children this. A lot of people didn't learn this early enough. Like
Right,
these children are
right.
getting jobs at 16 years old. They're going out getting jobs at McDonald's and they're working. Some of the children are not working. So one of the things we need to let you know too is if you are an entrepreneur, there are programs out here and hit me up if you need that information where you can still get your own insurance. A lot of times people are not thinking about it if they're an entrepreneur because they are so used to seeing their parents or someone else get insurance through their job. There are companies that will help you to insure yourself, to insure your employees. And in some cases, it doesn't have to be your expense. It can be something that you get for yourself. Even if you are self-employed, you
Mhm.
can offer this to your employees and they can pay for their own insurance. You don't have to pay for it for them. I'm going to say that again. If you are a small business owner and you're looking for a way for your employees to get insured, and you maybe don't want to offer it because maybe you don't have 10 employees or more, so you didn't think about it because you don't want to take on that expense, contact me because I can tell you how you can get that insurance and offer it to them at their expense, not at your expense. But you will be the one to offer it to them. You'll be the catalyst. You'll give them the information, but they can pay for it themselves. But children, Jonica, we need to make sure our teens, our young adults are insured. Parents need to have conversations with their children and ask them, hey, do you have life insurance? Hey, do you have health insurance? Dental insurance, vision insurance, health insurance, life insurance. We need to have those conversations. Do you see a lot of times where families are not having these conversations with their children?
Yes, we see it. We see it. And I'm glad you brought up that point too about employers, entrepreneurs having insurance because all they have to do is pay for the stamp to do the payroll and do a payroll deduction without having to pay for their employees. And that may keep you in business because you have something to offer. So in my group insurance world, yes, parents and employers they learn to put their insurance on their plans, okay, their children on their insurance plan, and then have it payroll deducted. Now, there's a difference between group, voluntary insurance, group, and voluntary insurance. Whenever you get insurance on your job, on your children, you should have insurance on your children at day zero or day zero. And you do that by having a rider on your policy. So let's say you already have one child. You get the individual insurance policy, then you get a rider on them through your insurance policy. So have a rider on there. And then that rider covers all of your children, whether they're born or not. So when
Wow.
it comes in the world, the baby's already insured, okay?
So you guys
Then,
say that again. Say that again for the people in the back. Explain
okay,
that one more time.
all right. You have several ways you can have insurance on your children, even before, God forbid, any pre-existing comes up. One is to make sure you get that insurance policy as soon as they're born. Some companies you have to wait 15 days. They need to be around 15, 20 days or more, okay, before they get insured. However, if a parent already has one child and they decide to buy more insurance, they get a children's rider policy. Children's rider policy. Under the children's rider policy, that covers all the children. So it can be 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000. Okay? So when the baby comes in the world, you already have a rider on your main insurance policy, a rider, okay? And then the baby comes in the world with insurance, whether they have a pre-existing or not, you already bought the policy. Now, when they reach a certain age, like 25 years old, they have the ability to take that rider and convert it to their own insurance policy. They can
Wow.
have HIV, they can have poor health or whatnot. They have a guaranteed rider where they can
Wow.
convert it to their own policy, regardless of health.
Wow, that's good. That's good. A lot of people may not have known about that. So you have an existing policy, you're expecting some more children, you can ask for a children's rider. Do all insurance companies have these ability to have them add this children's rider, or is it something that not every company will have, like only large companies have?
Now, 99% of the companies who do term, whole life, universal life, would give you the option to have a rider. Now, if you have a final expense policy, like a senior citizen policy, you may not be able to have a rider, but you may be able to get a grandparent plan on your children, a grandchildren plan. And so there are different ways around things to get benefits. If you are a new person to a company and you have pre-existing, but you want to get on the group policy, go ahead and get the max at the beginning, because you have a window of time to enroll into the group policy, okay? And then, but later, if you want to increase the amount of insurance and you already have poor health, pre-existing health, maybe a pacemaker or stents in your heart, that may prevent you from increasing your insurance through the group benefit, okay? So do that right away. And anything they offer for children, get that. Okay. Even if you leave the company, it was not done in vain, because some of those policies you can take with you
Yes, and
and
ask for the
do it.
Cobra, right?
Oh
So
no,
if you're just coming
Cobra.
in,
Wait a minute. Now Cobra is for health
okay,
insurance
uh-huh.
and maybe some disability insurance policies, but it's not necessary for life insurance or whatnot. So that's why some people miss that window of time to take the life insurance with them and convert it to an individual plan, because you only have a 30-day window of time.
So now, I don't know if you caught that. What Dr. Jonica Rowland just said is that if you leave your job, if you leave the company, you may be able to do some paperwork for COBRA for your health and the other benefits, but it does not always include, or most of the time doesn't include life. So you have to reach out to the life insurance company within 30 days so you can take that policy. And you want to do that so you don't have to reapply. You want to be
Now
able to
you
take it
work
while you're
in
already under the contract with them. And so, because if you had a new condition to come up, you don't have to answer those questions. So keep the policy you already have. If you're working and you leave the company, make those phone calls. Always call HR. Call the small companies and the large companies and ask what insurances can I take with me? And it's not a bad idea to ask when you get the job too. Find out what they're offering. Find out about all the different things that they have. If you're just coming in, we're listening to Dr. Jonica Rowland. Now, I want to say this. If you contact her, you get a free consultation. Her email is there. We're also going to make sure we include her website. If you text
right.
or call her, she just put the number there. If you text or call her and you say story time, then she's going to take good care of you. If you say story time, just let her know you heard her on story time out here on IG. Or just say story time, because this episode will be shared on Facebook and other platforms. So just refer back to story time if you see this on LinkedIn, if you see this on Facebook, if you see this on another platform. So we've covered a lot of different things today. We've covered pre-existing conditions. She's talked about the credit. And so she can help you in many areas when it comes to getting insured. And we talked about health insurance. We can help you when it comes to life insurance. She can help you when it comes to credit, when it comes to financial consultant. So please, please, please reach out if you have a need in any of those areas. Dr. Jonica, is there anything particular out of all the things that we've talked about that you would like to go back and reiterate or add for the people who may have just come in, just to make sure they didn't miss any important thing that you brought up today?
Yes, yes. I put my calendar link in there too. If you could pin that for me.
Okay.
Now, one thing, getting back to the 30-day window of time, you don't contact them within, just contact them within 30 days. You need to have a payment as well put into the system, okay? So don't just say I called them at the 30th day, okay? And many of us miss situations, so we're not just talking about book knowledge. We're talking about what we experience, what we've seen in other people's lives and in our lives. And we're to be the generation to go ahead and make sure we pass this information on. So we talked in previous episodes about whole life, term, and much more. But just let's sum this up and then we'll get to those topics. Number one, we talked about credit, how it can affect the amount of premium you will need to pay on your insurance. And if you can't pay the premium, if it's just too much, then you can reduce that premium, but you'll be reducing the amount of insurance that you may need to have in the future, such as if it's cash value. If you're paying a little bit of premium, you're only going to have a certain amount of cash value, such as if something happens and someone passed away, how would the children's college education be funded? How will they live? Will they live in poverty?
Mm.
Okay, on the system, or will you create a system so that generation can go ahead and pass the legacy on and the money and the wealth on? Number two, taking care of our health. Crystal mentioned she did not know obesity could prevent anyone from having insurance. Okay, so insurance companies are looking at risk. What risk are you taking? What risky behaviors are you taking? Okay, because even getting a job, people are looking at credit. To move up to another level in the government, they want to know your credit. So remember, credit and health are part of character. Some things are inherited and some things just happen because of lack of knowledge. So this is a new day to move forward and get it right. And if we make a mistake, don't go into the fear mode. The
Right.
fear mode of thinking you can't have what you need. You need insurance, you need home ownership, you need a thriving business, you need a thriving career. So let's go ahead and work on what we can work on, gain that knowledge so that we can get better every day. The other thing was careers. Certain types of careers may have to pay more premium because they are in a risky career. And those final expense insurance plans, they are already calculating the risk behavior, whether it be health or having no driver's license or DWIs, all that's counted in there. So they already have the premium raised anyway. Okay, so that's why on some of these applications, people do not know that, yes, alcoholism and other benefits can go ahead and affect what we will have later in life. Okay, so those are there. Our risky behaviors affect insurance and our lifestyle. So if you get in the right mindset, think about the lifestyle you want to have. It's a sacrifice. So sacrifice now so you can have more later.
I got a question in case somebody's thinking about it. What if a person's already insured and they get that condition afterwards? They're safe. If you already have the policy, you're safe. But that's why you want to make sure that you don't let it lapse. Because if you
Right.
have a policy and then you get a condition or you know that a condition that runs in your family, make sure you pay your bill on time, because if you were to lose that policy through the job or however you got it, and then later on you have to go get more insurance, and you know you have that pre-existing condition, then you can run into a problem. So I just wanted to throw that out there and say they are safe if they already have the policy, but if they were to lose it and they have to reapply, they will have an issue. Is that correct?
Right. You because as people get older, what happens? Now I feel like I'm younger, but what happens as people get older?
That's right. That's
Their
right.
health,
Things come up.
there are the health challenges. You go, Crystal, with your weight loss. There are the
Woo!
health challenges. So getting to that whole in term life, that's a good segue because the term insurance are only going to last a specific period of time. So we have the people out there who say buy term, invest later. Well, if you don't know how to invest, you're stuck with a term policy. And then if you don't do the insurance review, look at those policies every year to see when that premium on the term will increase or the policy will end. So let's say if someone has a 20-year term and that 20 years are here, if it's a policy that cannot be converted to a permanent policy, you're stuck with a policy where you have to pay an increasing premium. And that premium may quadruple and it may increase every year. So keep an eye on that, okay, on those term policies. You have your whole life insurance policies, which they're in place so that they can go on to year 100 or 120 years old. So nobody really has to be concerned about that policy ending, okay? All they need to be concerned about is paying the premium, and then you even know up front how much cash value you will have on a whole life policy. And that's under the category of a permanent insurance policy. Then there are universal life policies, which may have fluctuating interest rates because you have a guaranteed interest rate, then you have the hypothetical interest rate, okay? So you look at those to see what the cash values are, okay? And then there are the policies where people can pay 10 or 20 years or so, and those policies are called paid up policies. So after 10 or 20 years, they don't have to pay on it anymore. Another
Wow.
thing with those cash values and the permanent insurance policies, and thank you, young man, for bringing it up. Okay. Another thing about those term policies is they don't have cash value. So it's almost like rent where you never own it. All right, your permanent policies, such as your whole life policies and your universal life policies, once they have a substantial amount of cash value, and if something comes up with in aging America, all right, baby boomers are the biggest generation, right? So something comes up and they go, I'm tired of paying on this policy. You call the insurance policy company to see if you can take that cash value and place it on a lifetime term insurance policy. And then you have that policy. Let's say if the cash value is 20,000 and it's going to get you a lifetime insurance policy of 10,000 or 15,000. You decide. It's a hypothetical because each situation is different. But let's say you have that, you're tired of paying on the cash value. That's going to give you some leverage to have some type of policy left over. Okay, that's going to give you some leverage, and so Crystal has her book. I have some information I can mail to you, but Crystal has a book that goes ahead and it has sections in that book where you can just write down the information that's needed so that can be passed along with your family, as well as help you to look at the different types of policies. I put a forward in that book. Yes.
That's
And
right.
so,
And you can go get
so
this book. It's the best $10 you can ever spend. It's not expensive. I have a section in there where you can write a letter to your loved ones about things maybe you forgot to tell them, and just give them the necessary information they need, because we've seen it so many times where people pass away and they don't have the necessary information they need. They don't have the life insurance policy number. They don't know who to call. They don't have the phone numbers. They don't know where to look. So if you invest in this book, you can put the information in here for your loved ones and let them know. And it's on Amazon. If you search it by the name, Final Wishes by Crystal Bodie Smith. Final Wishes by Crystal Bodie Smith. I really would like to encourage you to do this because it just pains me to see the things that people go through. And Dr. Jonica just told you some very important steps, but there's some more steps that you'll find in here. Mistakes that people have made, how they have made the oversights when you marry again and you have the stepchildren and you forget to add them. It's so many things that we can't go into because we're coming to a close. So that's why I want to bring this book up, because we want to make sure that you get this information. On Amazon, search Final Wishes by Crystal Bodie Smith. Not just Final Wishes, because there are other Final Wishes, but this particular book that I did, you have to put my name when you search. It is on Barnes and Noble also. Get the book, give it to any young parent you know, any young parent you know that is raising a child. Give it to your children, fill it out. Don't be afraid. We don't want to talk about death, but don't be afraid to talk about it or write it in the book. So at least if you don't want to have the discussion, a lot of people say, Chris, I can't bring myself to fill it out. Well, think about what you're going to do if they're devastated and they don't have the information. Like, it's okay. Put it in the drawer and give it to them and tell them where to find the book. So I just wanted to bring that up. And I was looking for the book, but I couldn't find it. So I said, oh, let me pull it up. So I just want to thank you for everything that you shared today. We always try to give you this information. The topics on these social media platforms are usually not about things like this. You're usually finding out hot topics. Who is not in a relationship no more, or what's the latest trend? We're trying to give you some practical things that you need that is going to help you to be prepared for life, to be prepared for the unexpected, to save, to build wealth, to do the necessary things, to have a sustainable savings account, to be prepared for the unexpected, and to just not be so stressed out or leave your family stressed out in the event of something happening. Dr. Jonica Rowland has shared many things. Her phone number is there. And if you say story time and you see this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, or anywhere, just say that you saw this on story time. And please reach out to her and she will give you a consultation, right? You do a free consultation, is that correct?
Yes, I do a complimentary consultation. And then we look at where you are, where you need to go, because the companies actually pay the insurance agents. So unless you're really doing financial planning or business consulting or career consulting, watch how you paying people to get the information you need. So whether it's for group benefits, life insurance, individual policies, or reviewing what you have, we're going to plot a strategy to get you where you need to be. So when you hear me say the word we, you have my experience from 2005, but then I also have staff. So you have hundreds of years of experience coming, not just Dr. Jonica. And by the way, I still have customers from 2005 because
Yes.
we are focusing on the knowledge and wisdom that you need to have. Say in business, if there's a crisis, you run out of sick pay at your job, you have these critical illness expense plans, you found out what those riders are on your policy, and don't forget the children's riders. We talked about that, okay? And so let's look at what you have. Okay, some policies have commercial rider benefits on there. If someone passed away through a commercial transportation accident, yeah, that policy may triple. Some may have that critical illness on there. So review what you have, and that's what I'm here for. Yes, I'm
Reviewing it.
called
That's the key. That's what
Crystal
I was
Bodie.
getting ready to say. Review it. I'm going
Change
to say
those
that again.
beneficiaries too. Don't forget to get that in there.
Review the beneficiaries. Go back if you are taking care of your parent, if you are moving back home, or somebody is sick and you're going to take care of them. Please pull it out. Don't just ask them what they have and don't just take their word for it. Look at the policy. Some of these elderly people are aging out because they had term and the policy is no longer in effect. I would hate to have somebody to go and think they're getting ready to bury someone and they no longer have a policy, or they try to go use something and they no longer have that policy. So we are urging you to go back every so often and look at the paperwork for yourself, for your children. Remind your children, hey, we got some young adults that are going out the house earlier than we went out, but let's help them to be responsible adults. Let's remind them, ask them, hey, if they leaving these jobs, a lot of them are leaving jobs. They leave a job so quicker than we did, Jonica. Let's ask them, hey, did you take the
Quicker than
insurance
you
with you?
did.
Did you take the insurance with you? Did you call up? Did you ask about the life insurance policy? Did you do COBRA? Ask these questions. We got to help our children out. They want to be grown, but we have to help them out. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that
You
you
have
did
to.
find some value in some things that we said today, and I'm going to let Dr. Jonica give her closing comments. But please, please, please follow her. If you're not following me, follow us both. We come back once a month, and we try to make sure that we give you this vital information. Any closing comments, Dr. Jonathan?
Yes, Crystal and I, we can smile now, but we've been through a lot of grief. So we don't just have the knowledge about this, we have the experience
Whew.
about this. And for those of you who cannot get insured, there are funeral expense plans out there that are not expensive, where you can
Yes,
insure yourself, not necessarily stay insured, but have funeral coverage for you and those loved ones who would not give you their social security numbers or who would not sit still to get it, because it's
that's right.
time GoFundMe pages. If you're here in the area or you want to fly to the area, June 25th at 4 p.m., I am having a legacy planning and self-care workshop. That's legacy planning and self-care workshop. So
In North
follow
Carolina, right? So they don't know where the area is. In North Carolina. But guess what? We can bring it to a city near you. So if you have a group of people, if you have a church group, if you have an organization, if you have a big family and you want this workshop there, just email her, call her, because we can bring it to you.
Right. We can bring it to you. We can bring it to you. We are not gloom and doom people. We just know life is going to happen and we can't let it get the best of us. So don't let fear or challenges hold you up from getting where you need to go. Find someone you trust. Hopefully me. We're here in Raleigh, North
There you
Carolina.
go.
Thanks for
Yes.
asking. And we'll do what we can to see how I can get this on a social media platform,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Let's make it
the event
virtual.
is $0. So I don't want to hire a bunch of overhead to get this going. But we'll have
Wow.
vendors. If you want to vendor, I will market your information for 4 weeks. Yeah, so Crystal better be a vendor. But she's getting marketed anyway.
Oh,
But
we gonna
we
talk about
we
that. Yeah,
know
call me.
people. We'll
Call me.
introduce you our people, you introduce us to your people. And we're just here to um hopefully help you enjoy life and just be prepared. But work on you.
Yes, and I just want to tell you, thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate your time. Ladies
I
and gentlemen, you've
appreciate
been
you.
listening to Story Time. Come back
There you
tonight at
go.
9 p.m. 9 p.m. You're going to hear from Be Purposely Fit. You're going to see a young lady who went through a domestic violence situation. She got out of it. She lost her weight. She overcame, and she's going to share how she got on this fitness journey and everything that she's doing. And we just thank you so much, Dr. Jonica Rowland. Again, follow Dr. Jonica Rowland. Dr. Rowland, you go live every so often. When do you go live on your platform and share?
I
Do you
had to
have a
get a
set time? Do you have a
I
set
had to
time?
get a schedule
Okay.
because
Okay.
I get requests to go to live, but I'm big on this self-care. So mainly it'll be in the mornings, but
Okay.
I
Okay.
need to start jumping on Crystal Lives in the evening. She
Okay.
has some good information, but I like to go on dates with my
All
mate.
right.
But
Oh,
anyway, I'm
well,
getting
ladies
too
and
much
gentlemen, I'm
info.
interested in
Too
hearing
much
it.
info.
Yes, I'm interested in hearing your story, Blake. Email me, DM me. Thank you for saying that. If you have a story, to tell, DM me and let me know, because we are full right now. Our calendar is full all the way through June, but we're taking slots for July right now, July and August. We usually fill up about 2 months at a time. So come on in, tell your story. If you're trying to promote a business as a result of your story, because I want to hear about your story. We're not really necessarily promoting people but we can. But I want to get to the story behind your success before we get there. So I just want to let you know, Dr. Jonica, we're going to let you go. Everybody, see you at 9 p.m. God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for stopping by. We'll see you tonight. And please have a good day. My mission is stir up the gift, instill hope, and save lives. And we certainly hope you found value today. Share this live, share this live, share this live with somebody you know that needs this information you heard today. This was some very valuable information, and we want you to share it. Have a blessed day. Comment below and DM her and me for more information. Have a blessed one. Bye.
Bye.